All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Career Alchemy. I am your host, Lori Swanson, CEO of Inspire Tech and the founder of Career Alchemy Academy. I am a career wayfinder coach, a transformation maker, and I lead Career Alchemy Academy, which is a community of women in and around tech who are transforming their careers and lives together. So nothing better than being together, is it? No, I don't really think there is. So let me take a drink of water. So today, what I'm going to talk about, assuming that I can talk, is unmade career decisions. So, and how they're holding you back, right? And there's sort of a strange limbo that happens when you know you want more in your career, you want change, you want, like, on Sunday, when you're thinking about Monday, you're excited because you have created something different in your career that you're looking forward to going to. That limbo is the knowing you want something more and then actually moving towards it. One thing to know it in your head, but there's another thing to be actually moving towards it. And it's easy to think that you haven't decided yet, or you're waiting to decide. But in the words of not my favorite, but on my top 5 list of favorite bands, Rush, from Permanent Waves. Pretty sure it's Permanent Waves album. The song Free Will. It's awesome. And they say, the famous Neil Peart says, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. So you think you're just not deciding or you're waiting to decide, but in fact, you have made a choice. And by choosing not to decide, there are consequences to that. So just think about that. If I choose not to decide, I'm still making a choice, but it's a choice that is unconscious in a way. So you're really choosing to stay in that same job and, think the same thoughts and, I don't know, wear the same clothes. Like, even though you're not thinking about it, you're making these choices. And so not making a decision is still a decision. And when you choose not to decide in your career, like I said, there are consequences to that. As a recruiter, and I, recruiter for, before I got into career coaching, I was still coaching as a recruiter. You just can't help but coach people through job searches and giving notice and negotiating and all of those things. But over the years as a recruiter and even now as a career coach, I pretty much have heard it all. Like, all sorts of very legitimate sounding reasons why someone's holding off in making a decision to take action on their career dreams. Why I need to wait a little bit. It's after summer, after the year's end, after, the kids launch, there's always something that has people not holding off and making a decision about taking action on their career dreams. So they know they want to go after a new role, or they know they want to make more money, or they know they want to take on greater responsibilities. Um, that new role could be inside their company. It could be a pivot outside of their company, maybe even becoming their own boss, right? And I've helped people do that as well. And so they know there's that dream sitting there, that they want to go after, yet days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into years, and the deciding to take action isn't happening, but the decision that is being made is that the career is happening to you. Your career is happening to you. So even if you're on like, I have decided, or my company decided for me, and I'm on this job search, but then there's so many things inside of a job search that you can do to create greater visibility for yourself, for example, so that you're attracting more. It's something we talk about inside Career Alchemy Academy. There's the 3 pillars, and the second pillar is what I call the path. And this is the path to your career dreams. And one of the um, steps on that path are is what I call visibility. It's about how do people, how does your boss know you want the job? You know, how do you develop those leadership skills if you're not becoming more visible in meetings? And so there's so many things you can do. So you think just because you've decided to change jobs that that's enough. But in fact, there's all these other decisions that you need to keep making in service to your career dreams. And you know, and the example I was kind of thinking about is how are you raising the visibility of yourself in the market? And is it just, you know, one way is by applying to jobs, right? But is that the only way you're doing it? Or you've reached out to your, you know, the people close to you, and, you know, the easy reconnections on LinkedIn or past colleagues or those things. And then you think, okay, you know, now I wait. No. And again, that's a decision, but instead of taking a decision to take action and create more visibility for yourself, because it just shortens the path between where you are right now and meeting your future boss, right? By increasing your visibility. So it's really not what you can't do that's holding you back, because that often is the thought, you know, I don't have this yet, or I can't find the time, or you know, I can't do that to my current team or to this current project. It's not what you can't do that's holding you back. It's what you haven't chosen to do yet. So keep that in mind. And does it really matter if we, you know, choose not to decide right now? Hear me. It really matters. It really matters. And choosing not to decide, it has these you know, consequences. There's unmade decisions cost you. So for you know, we talk a lot about energy and how we create the energy that we want to bring into a room, and how we can through thought work and directing our thoughts and directing our minds, we actually have the ability to shift our energy, to shift how we're feeling, to create more of what we want, right? I talked about this in past LinkedIn lives here and blogs. And but the thing is that that energy of not deciding is like a hidden drag on your confidence. It's your energy's, it's a low vibe energy versus the higher, calm, centered, energized, focused vibe that you want to be in on the daily. But with these unmade decisions sort of weighing you down and dragging on you, your energy is low, your confidence gets low. When you stay in indecision, there's frustration, confusion. You start questioning your value at work because, again, you're letting your career happen to you. And when you're more passive like that, there's something about active energy, you know, decisive energy, what I call alchemist energy. There's something about that that builds confidence, and it doesn't take it away. It gives you agency. It brings clarity, right? And so if you have all undecided things happening, it's slowing down your progress in your career. And I will say this, and I believe it to be true, you will make less money. You will make less money for a number of different reasons. You can figure some of them out. But you know, if you just think to yourself, how by not making these decisions am I impacting my pocketbook in a negative way? You know, there's certainly the obvious ways, but there's other ways. Come inside the academy, we'll talk. So you want to move into a new role, but you haven't, for example, invested in a coach yet, or join Career Alchemy Academy for that matter. You want to flex your leadership skills, but you aren't raising your hands in meetings. You want a new promotion, but you keep putting off that conversation with your boss. So there's this wanting, but then the undeciding, the unmade decision to take action is really what it is. But there is good news. Once you decide, things accelerate, which I love about, and you have to know this. I can imagine that everyone has experienced this at some point in their career or lives where they've been sort of sitting on something, not deciding, other things are happening. And then all of a sudden you're like, yep, I'm going to do it. And doors open. So I had a coaching client today said, she said, I feel like you're my angel brought to me, that when I, hired you as my my one-on-one coach, all of a sudden things started happening. Um, you know, signs were coming, opportunities were coming, and I think that's it. It's less about me for sure than it was her deciding to, make a choice, choose herself, and that she wanted to change how she was approaching her career. And then things started accelerating, and doors that had just probably, I mean, if you could just imagine, uh, rising above and kind of looking at people who are sitting in a room, not making decisions, and people in a room, exact same type of room, making decisions. There's no doors open over here. There's lots of doors open over there. There's people coming in and talking to you. Over here, you're alone. And so, come on, decide, right? And so, by deciding, you're accelerating things, and decision making, as I mentioned, is a form of alchemist energy. In I truly believe it. It's how you start to stir things up and create something new, right? And that's alchemy. So in Career Alchemy Academy, we talk a lot about this energy of decision, and that the idea that alchemists don't wait for clarity. They make a decision, they take action, and then clarity comes. Because we often think, okay, as soon as I get a little more clear about my path, or, I've got a better understanding of what it might look like. And then, it's waiting and waiting in time, those days to weeks to months to years again. But if you're in alchemist energy, you're sort of like, okay, I know that I'm just going to make a decision to take an action towards my dream right here, and that clarity is going to come. The other thing that I consider when I think about alchemy, energy, and decision making is alchemists don't pretend that everything's in their control, or that they have to have everything in their control. Instead, they take 100% responsibility. So, and so what I mean by that is that we can stop ourselves for fear of making a mistake, or for fear of, you know, being called out on something, or for fear of just being embarrassed, and all of those things. And an alchemist decision-making philosophy is a little bit different than that. They know that whatever happens, they're going to take 100% responsibility. And additionally, they have the capacity to be with whatever the outcome is. And then they keep going, and they decide to keep going, right? We also know as alchemists that we have to put ourselves out there to advance our careers. And so we have to make a decision. We have to be willing to take the chance, but we also know it starts inside. And so it's this, if the real transformation is going to feel scary, 99% of the time, it isn't going to be, got it, I'm going, right? I'm doing this. It's more like, oh my God, I'm doing this. Am I doing this? I'm doing this, right? It's that sort of fear, good fear though. It's that sort of alchemy energy is like this good fear. The stomach might be in knots, and we're like, yep, that's alchemy energy right there. It's in the house, and the transformation, this is what the transformation is happening. It, I remember when I was a kid, my dad would, I would get growing pains. They call them growing pains, like leg aches. They call them leg aches too. And they would say, "Oh, you're growing." You know, my dad would rub this stuff on my leg and rub my legs. It was so sweet. And but a transformation was happening. It wasn't comfortable. It was somewhat painful. It kept me up at night. And I had someone there. Like me as a coach for you, Career Alchemy as a community for you. There was someone there, in my case, my dad, to help me get through it, and that's I can't say enough about the value of having people as you make this um, decision to go after your career dreams, knowing that your stomach is going to be in knots and it's going to feel a little scary and perhaps painful and keep you up at night, and all those things could be happening, and it's okay because that's the way transformation works. So then you're sort of like, oh, bring it, because it doesn't kill us. It really doesn't. It builds us up, and it strengthens us. So if you're tired of circling around the same old thoughts, waiting for, um, da 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 da, or a specific timing, you think there's going to be a time where you're like, okay, now I'm ready. Most of the time, that does not happen. And you're also, tired of, I would say, blaming or waiting for external circumstances to change. Um, and instead you decide that it's just might be time to decide, right? And a great, so I want to give like a little bit of, I call it the counterintuitive exercise, decision making exercise here, is that one of the first steps of considering what you want to decide about is to look at where you have unmade decisions, because climate cleaning, and they may be related to career, and really it could be related to a whole bunch of different things, that small and big, but all, again, like I said, all of those unmade decisions are sitting there in the, weighing you down, draining your energy. And with your energy drained, it's more difficult to take action, or take consistent action. You might take some action, and then there's all this time because you're having to rebuild up because you've got all this unmade decision energy weighing you down. So start first. I'm going to give you 4 kind of questions to ask yourself so you can uncover the decisions that you haven't made yet. And then as you're doing that, start to clean that up. Figure out what you need to do. Like I said, some smaller decisions, like, should I throw away this outfit that's been in my closet that I only wore once, but it costs a lot of money. And, but I really don't like it. That's an unmade decision, and that's weighing down your psyche. And we don't do that. Alchemists don't do that. We like transform. We let go of that stuff. So just ask yourself, get out a book, little journal time, and just ask yourself, if I knew what decisions I've been circling around but not making, what do I think those would be? And just write those down. Do I stay in my job? Do I go? Do I keep this dress? Do I get rid of this dress? Do I speak up or do I stay silent? Do I invest in support or keep, doing it myself? The second thing is ask yourself, or start to notice where you feel consistently drained during the day. Those sort of energy leaks can point to long overdue decisions that need to be made. And again, maybe it's putting someone on a performance plan on your team. That's always, no one really loves doing that, but there's a point in which, even within your career, I talk about, putting on your CEO hat. You have to become the boss of this all, and you have to make these hard decisions for the benefit of everyone. And I would always argue, even for the person where you feel like it's going to be painful for them, it could be, but it's also going to be transformational. So where do you feel you're consistently drained? What are you doing? Who are you with at that time? and especially uh, from the perspective of, and is there an unmade decision in this scenario? And then third is, what are you tolerating that you've outgrown? So the thing that you keep saying it's fine about is probably not fine. It probably isn't fine. It's not fine. So if you find yourself saying, oh, this is fine, it's just fine. Fine means, you know what, like, life is short. Like, it should be exceptional. Like, really, I really do think we could have exceptional most of the time, even in the hard stuff. There will be exceptional in that. But settling for fine and tolerating for too long, um, energy, life draining circumstances, people, because we just don't want to make a decision about it. I'm just saying, no more of that. That's it. Cut that off. And then number 4, where are you using external circumstances or blaming them, or, using external circumstances and factors uh, as a reason to not move forward. So so you can ask yourself, like, where am I blaming external factors when I know that the external factors are really only a little bit of the picture? And I mentioned a little bit earlier in our broadcast today about alchemists taking 100% responsibility. So think about that. Like, that means no more blaming others, no more judging others, no more blaming ourselves. Like, we just take responsibility for it. We're, shaking off the shame, shaking off the blame, shaking off any guilt, and we're just taking 100% responsibility for the results we have right now, and then we're making decisions about if we like those results. Great, and we keep deciding to, pursue that direction, for example. But if we're not liking them, we take 100% responsibility for how we got here, and we pay attention to our thoughts and regulate our emotions. All alchemist tools, by the way. And then we have the energy, whatever is needed, to take the next step. Because, and that's just another little aside. But sometimes we think we have to take 100 steps, but we don't. We just have to take one, right? And so we take 100% responsibility as alchemists in creating the career of our dreams. And we're honest with ourselves. Alchemists are, they ask for help. They don't go it alone. And I don't know, they're agents of change. I just think that's it. Like, we're agents of change, personal change, career change. We're just the agents of that. So where do you start after all this? Like I said, go and watch this video. It's out on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers. Hello, Instagram, Facebook folks. Hello, LinkedIn folks. You can watch it on my LinkedIn page. You can watch it on my YouTube channel. And because I know, well, first of all, I talk a little fast, but also it's a lot to take in. The four questions when you're just going to sit down and ask yourself, what are these unmade decisions? I'll repeat them really quick. But one is that you just ask yourself, what decision have I been circling around that I'm not making, or decisions? Where do I feel consistently drained? Who am I with, or what am I doing, or that sort of thing. What are you tolerating can also often be a sign that you've outgrown something. So where you can even say, what am I tolerating, or what do I know I've outgrown? And then where might you be blaming external circumstances for your reasons to not move forward, and instead taking 100% responsibility for what you want to create in your lives, the transformation you want to have. And don't let the word transformation freak you out. Um, your transformation will go at the pace that's perfect for you. I don't know if this is true, but often the metaphor for transformation is the caterpillar into the cocoon, where they sort of, they melt down into that imago, where all of the, it's a liquid inside this cocoon. And then there's a point where it starts to emerge from the cocoon. And this stuff I know is true, right? It emerges from the cocoon, and it's flapping its wings in order to break out of the cocoon. And it's breaking it as out of the cocoon, but the dual purpose is that it's building its wing muscles so that it can fly, right? But I am assuming that it isn't like all moths and all future moths and butterflies are in this cocoon for exactly 7 days. Like, my guess is that some transform more quickly and some are transforming more slowly, um, at exactly the right pace for them. So I love the word transformation. I just don't want you to be thinking that um, oh my God, I'm going to turn my life upside down overnight. It's going to be like, oh, it's not. But you're going to make, each decision you make is a little transformation of you, and it's building a different version of you, a stronger, more confident, um, more willing, more creative, and wealthier, because we're going to turn on the money faucet. So all of those things, right? So that's again a little aside, but just know that transformation is going to happen at your own pace, and that you actually have the ability to put your foot on the gas and lift it up, and put on the gas again and then lift it up, so you can decide if you want to go a little faster. So doing a little bit of journaling there, and then just ask yourself, what's one small decision that I can make today? Maybe reaching out to someone in your network to grow your visibility, reaching out to me through the QR code over your shoulder, joining Career Alchemy Academy, email me if you have questions about it. But the website's pretty thorough. And again, it's an investment that I believe is a no-brainer. Once you decide that you are going to transform your career and you want support with it, Career Alchemy Academy, no-brainer. Investing in you, do it. So start with the one decision, set up that meeting with your boss, whatever it is, and then this small decision is the beginning. It is the microscopic step that turns into, in not too long of a time, you can look over your shoulder and be like, oh my God, I used to be way back there, and look where I am now. Look what I'm doing now. Look who I am now. Look who I'm interfacing with now. Look who I'm leading now. Look what products I'm part of creating now. Who knew? I knew. You're an alchemist. You're ready to transform. It's time to make a decision. So what are you going to decide to do for you and your career today? So that's it for today. That is all I have to say, all I have to share. I do have, speaking of past self and future self, I do have a little future prediction. And it is that I will not be here next week. I will be on vacation. So there is no LinkedIn Live next week. Even though I don't think I've ever not done a LinkedIn Live since I've started doing them, which I don't know how long ago that was now. But you know what? We all need to vacate, and I'm vacating. I'm going on that vacation, and I'm sure I'll be thinking about all of you, but I will not be coming on live. So just, whatever you're doing, enjoy the summer. If you're in summer right now, if you're on the other side, the southern hemisphere, enjoy winter. We love it all. And I hope that you decide to join me inside of Career Alchemy Academy. I'm waiting for you. Thank you.